Hello there folks, welcome back to the Rusty Play for Demon's Souls on RCPS3, currently running on PC. So, we are going to do a little bit of cleaning up, and then we're going to progress with a bit more, well, of the game.
What do you need?
A novel
If it be
approach,
a
I know.
blacksmith, then show me some coin. If not, head straight for the door.
Yes sir.
Demon soul? The demons
No,
are powerful
demons.
spirits. Some can even
Almost got
work
the title
weapons.
drop correct.
But doing so requires a powerful flame. The soul of a demon is an inferno of wrath.
Funny you should mention that. I just so happen to have in my possession...
Busy! Each ore has a grade. Mighty weapons can only be blessed by ores of high grade. The highest grade of all is a pure ore that shines in utter brilliance. A
Already aware of that?
force that delights the eyes.
I've got a couple of them in fact. How do I trigger...
The highest grade of all is a
No? Do I
the highest
have
grade of
to leave and try again? Dare I get you to notice what I'm doing? I have the very thing you've just been talking about. Pay attention to me.
Yes.
There we go.
That's the one. A red, hot demon soul. Now you can bless your weapon with another demon soul.
Put some demon souls in your demon souls. Because we heard you like demon
Wise
souls.
choice. You've done well to put your trust in the great blacksmith Ed.
I just don't know why it's
Bring me
even a
a demon
choice.
soul, and I shall use it to bless your weapon.
Like, genuinely, I don't know why it's even a choice. I mean, I suppose you could pop it for some extra level up souls, but other than that, the Flame Lurker soul has literally no other application. Oh, there we go. Boss weapon we could have made if I had used the old monk's soul. Yeah, what's the Insanity Caster do? Remind myself. Really good scaling with intelligence. Good, makes sense. Ah, yeah. It's yet another item that increases the strength of your spells. But also totally buggers the amount of MP you've got to spend. So Insanity Catalyst, plus Ring of Magical Sharpness, plus Crisp Blade, plus Morian Blade, perhaps? I don't know which should be better, actually. Plus HP low, so you've got Clever Rat's Ring. Yeah, you can you can do some insane things to up your magic damage in this game. To the extent that with the right setup, you can walk into a boss room, tap R1 to cast a spell, and you've won. That's the end of it.
All done?
That
Let me
messes
go.
with the day of
I'll walk
Invaders too,
along.
at least it used to anyway, before they shut the servers down, of course. So yeah. This session is basically happening the very next day after the last one I did. Normally I give myself a little break, because I record generally enough for a couple of days of footage, like video-wise. But I've done it this way, because let's face it, I don't really have a lot going on right now. There's only so many hours of the day you can spend cycling and or exercising. Even just playing games for my own amusement. It doesn't take up a lot of the day, surprisingly. Although the new episode of Song of Horror is out, which me and the missus need to play. I say we, I will play, and she'll she'll hide behind a blanket and watch, is what she'll do. But yeah, let's face it, this whole situation, one thing it has made very transparent to everyone, exactly who is quote-unquote essential and who is not. In fact, drop the quote-unquote, just who is essential and who isn't. And sadly, my particular chosen line of employment doesn't fall into that category. When my bosses can basically kick me out and do my job to keep themselves in employment. Yeah. It is what it is. Does maybe wish I'd made slightly different choices when I was in university though. Perhaps if I'd gone with the practical instead of the research and academic approach to my chosen subject. I did psychology. If I'd done like a stint in biochemistry as well, perhaps, this might be an entirely different conversation we're having right now. And there might even be a conversation. Oh well. But you never know, do you? Let's face it, at this point in my life I was quite lucky to get into the course that I've applied for networking and computer studies. The idea being to set myself up as someone who can essentially build server farms, maintain IT networks, that sort of thing. Which is a bit more in line. Ironically, I started looking into doing that before this whole crisis, but that's why I moved my plans a bit sooner, because let's face it, even with the degree I've got, which is massively out of date at this point, I'm probably not going to be able to take that into a medical route at this stage in my life. The way I'm getting into medical school at this point is with an organ donor card, let's face it. Latria, it brings out the sunshine in all of us. Right. In case you're wondering why I'm back here, I'm actually going back and picking up yet more things that I completely forgot were available. For example, there is an item down here I can get to by dropping. I wasn't wrong before. What I was wrong about was which platform I had to land on. Yeah, if you land on the platform over that side behind me, that's an insta-kill. Which I think is a bit of a shit move on FromSoft's behalf. Because you do it, you think, oh, dropping to these platforms just kills you. I'll never try again. And then you're walking around, you happen to glance up from the platform down below us there. So there's an item there. If I attempt to drop to where that item is, the game kills me. What's going on? Yeah, a little unfair, I think. But there you go. I think it would have made more sense if you could just drop to any part of that platform. And it was like just in one seamless piece so you could walk around it. I think that might have been a slightly better decision. Because you put something in a place that is there basically to reward the player for exploring. What you don't want is a situation where you make it seem like the player can't get to the place where the item is, so they stop trying. Especially if you're playing this like for the first time, you're not going to want to risk repeatedly dying and making the game harder. There's a fair chance at this point you won't fully understand what dying in body form actually does. There we go. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that is supposed to be here that is not loaded. The corpse of the demon heart is supposed to be in this room. It's here, but the textures haven't loaded, it's invisible. Yeah. There should be like a bunch of tentacles splayed around the place. It's like that gap in the geometry that I thought we're supposed to fill in as a result of a World Tendency event. No, there should be like a bit of fleshy tentacle in there. That's basically you can walk on top of. You may notice when we attempted to walk across just now, I seem to step on invisible nothing in terms of platform. Yeah, there should be, like I say, a fleshy mound in the middle of this room, and then a bunch of tentacles and other bits and pieces scattered around the edge. Well, it should be. Oh, the Epirapia. Oh, that's the one with innate fire damage, isn't it? Yes, it is. Ooh. Although, it's also a weapon you have to upgrade with colourless demon souls, if I remember correctly. And those are a pain in the arse to get your hands on. Basically, the way colourless demon souls work, you can only get them from a pure black tendency world, and then only by killing the primeval demon in that world. That's the only way you can do it. And once you kill the primeval demon, you will nudge the world tendency back towards white, which not necessarily a good thing, and it's by quite a significant margin if I remember correctly as well. So the black tendency events, it's not an issue for most worlds where you can basically run through each section like one to the other from the start. The issue tends to be, well, basically there's only a couple of the worlds actually, like Latria here, where you can only access certain levels by warping in and out. If you do that, you reset the tendency, and that means you can't access the pure black events for other sections of the level. So you've then got to go and kill yourself in body form a bunch more times to get back to pure black. Which is just as much of a pain as it sounds. Yeah, well. Actually, I wonder. A colourless demon soul, because they're an inventory item. Are they a thing? Can you deposit soul items? I don't know if you can. I don't think you can. Maybe. I might have to look at this later. But see what I'm thinking about? Ooh, the Rune Sword has pretty decent innate magical damage, doesn't it? Epirapia's got pretty decent innate... Oh. It's got mediocre innate fire damage, but it scales really well with a bunch of stuff. Okay. Again, that could be an option for a fun weapon. Especially with the stats It's more geared towards strength, I think. But, yeah, whatever. Rune Shields, again, semi-useful item at this point in the game if you're looking to block magic damage. Would have been useful to have that during the man eater fight, if perhaps you're having trouble dodging like his death bolt or something like that. Anything else I can upgrade? Yeah, I upgraded the Spiral Rapier, by the way. I did a whole bunch of farming, because I've been playing this a lot.
No interest, eh?
Like I say, in all my copious free time. Just for my own amusement. I might actually start a secondary character. And, attempt to do some of the things I missed out on doing last time. Just so you get a general idea of what those things were, actually with examples rather than just me saying about them. Might be a better idea. I'm also doing a little bit of backing and forthing, so I want to quickly check that I am actually right about how you upgrade stuff like the Epi Rapier. I think I'm right, but, you know. Always pays to be certain. Yeah, okay. Rune Sword and Epi Rapier, both colourless demon souls, okay. And there's also a way of artificially increasing the amount of items you have. There's a glitch in the game. Now the glitch is obviously very useful if you don't have time to just sit around killing time, running around farming stuff, which I have copious amounts of. If you're playing in a more normal setting, when your free time is precious, and... or perhaps if you just want to experiment with stuff after you've already played the game, you know, the normal way. There is a way you can artificially boost the amount of items that you have. I generally can't remember if you can drop soul items off. I don't think you can, actually. I might be talking out of my backside with that one. Let's get rid of all the stuff we don't need for now. I kind of want to keep the dagger. Just for shits and giggles, and I like the gold mask. The gold mask could be pretty fun to wear as an item, depending on your setup. However, the silver coronet, in terms of utility, is actually much better. Right, the gold mask gives you... I don't think gives you anything unique. Silver coronet increases your max MP. Basically all of them. The silver wizard items give you a tiny boost to your max MP. Which is a nice touch, I think. The idea that wizards have unique wizard shit, yeah? That makes sense, that they would develop these things and they would be there. Yuria. We'll free you eventually. Assuming I remember. Speaking of NPCs, that little twat up there on top of the fortress is Satsuki. Possibly the hardest NPC to fight in this particular game. God damn it, that didn't work. I forgot that Soul Arrow has homing Soul Arrow more accurately, has an annoying tendency to auto-trigger. Outside of the range it can actually hit in. It's very useful if you trigger it as an enemy's running towards you. That can be really useful. Or if you're willing to take the risk of standing with your back to the enemy as they approach. I don't think it can trigger like in like a 90-degree angle from itself. I don't think it can trigger behind itself, I don't think. Or maybe it can in Demon Souls, I can't... God damn it! I can't even see that guy, or it's like, I'll get him! He's out of range. It's a surprisingly difficult spell to use effectively. The Dark Souls version was actually an improvement, where I think you had to at least be locked on to the creature you wanted it to target. I don't think the Dark Souls version auto-shoots. I think you have to be locked on. Again, it's been a long time since I played around with magic in Dark Souls. Sort of the spell sword tends to be my go-to play style. Generally with a dex weapon. Hey guys, how you doing? So yeah, the Skelly Man's here. Interesting one in this. So in the Shrine of Storms, dear, what the demons have done is drawn out the souls of the dead, and rather than just eating them for food, as you'd kind of expect them to do, they've riled them up and turfed them loose. And they're going around attempting to inhabit their original corpses, which are now just skeletons, and resurrecting them as these things. one of the many minor tragedies of what's going on in the world of Boletaria. Would this still be... This wouldn't be Boletaria, would it? Boletaria is literally just World 1. Everywhere else is... No, the land itself is called Boletaria. That's something I'm actually genuinely not clear on. Because the land of the giants is not Boletaria, it's supposed to be north of Boletaria. I need to actually try and figure that out at some point. Just suddenly realising there's a lore question I've never asked myself. That's why I love this game. There's even all this time, like 10 years after it was made, there's still shit that I realised I never took the time to try and figure out. That I'm curious about as well. Yeah, the old pressure plate arrow trick that FromSoft loves so much. In every single FromSoft game you can avoid it just by standing to the side, essentially. Now, can I get this to work correctly? Nope. No, one of the arrows hits. That's a minor improvement. Oh god, black skelly-mans. They take so much damage. Ow! They do quite a bit as well. Jesus. To you as well. Yeah, the black skeletons do stupid amounts of damage. It's not even a joke. I have no idea why my game just froze there. It didn't like me picking up the Crescent Falchion, apparently. Now once again, there is actually a little trick you can do if you come here in soul form with Thiefring. You can avoid a lot of the enemies, and there is a section of wall you can run up to get like on top of here. This lets you do two things. First of all, it lets you pick up the Crescent Falchion really quickly and really easily without really having to come too far in the level. Secondly, it allows you to leave the fog gate downstairs that I opened closed. Which again, at this point, because the servers are inactive, or, you know, disassembled, or whatever the case may be, doesn't really do anything for you. But back in the day, that meant you could deliberately walk up, like around here, an invader would come in and they would spawn by the Archstone. I think that's the only place you could spawn in Demon Souls was by the Archstone. I think. So they, you know, the invader would come running along, and unless they happen to also know where that bit of bad geometry was, basically you could stand on the other side of the fog gate just looking at them. If you were feeling cruel. Or you could just carry on your merry way along the level, knowing the invader is not an issue. All they mean is that you can't actually quit out of the level, per se, until you get to the boss at the end. That was just one of several like weird geometry glitches in this particular level. So there's another one that lets you skip pretty decent chunk of the level, actually. Like, you can get pretty much all the way to the end in minutes if you have no interest in like exploring or showing people things or picking up items, which is what I'm doing. There's only a couple of things I really want to show you guys, actually. There's an NPC I want to free. Just because he's quite a genuinely affable bloke compared to most of the NPCs, which are either depressed, annoyed, or actively trying to trick and or murder you in this game.
You
Snuggly!
Give Sparkly me. Give Twinkly me.
Actually, no, it's not Snuggly in this game, is it?
You.
Is it Sparkly?
Trade.
I can't remember what her name is. But yeah, that's the Trading Crow, the original version. Again, can't remember off the top of my head if there's anything actually worth trading. I'll have to look up like the big list online of what items cause her to drop what, and see if there's anything worth picking up at a later date. God damn it. That would have been some useful Dark Moonstone. Although I say that. Or Crescent Moonstone, whichever. No, it's Dark Moonstone. It makes Crescent weapons, but it's called Dark Moonstone. So I looked up the difference. Regular Moonstone gives you a magically damaging weapon. Dark Moonstone also gives you magic damage on your weapon. To a lesser degree. Gives you like a less of a flat damage increase with magic attack than Moonstone does. However, I believe it generally tends to scale better with your intelligence stat, and also gives you a slight MP regen effect as long as you've got the weapon equipped and out, if I remember this correctly. So if you're looking for like just raw damage without having to rely too much on your stats for help, Moonstone's the way to go. Like you just want the option of having a weapon that does a chunk of magic damage without having to rely on buffs or anything else. Moonstone. If you've got the stats pumped into it, Dark Moonstone weapon is your weapon of choice. So you will need to invest a decent chunk of stats to make it worthwhile. It'll have the advantage of regenerating your MP. And let's face it, if you've got a decent amount of stuff pumped into like magic attack and stuff, you're probably going to be at least some variant of a spellcaster. So that's useful. Because it's an easily accessible weapon, especially with the geometry exploit, a lot of people tend to use it in speedruns. Because, like I say, magic damage, pretty much everything in this game, with the exception of a few creatures in Latria, are heavily susceptible to magic damage. Heavily susceptible. The guy in the cage back there is the one I want to free. He's a genuinely nice bloke. The stuff you can buy off him, not particularly useful for this character. If I decided to go... If I'd done like an archer build, that would be my guy to go to. If I was doing like a archer / hunter or something, that would be the bloke to go speak to. Upgrade your bow with a spider thing that... Oh, holy crap. Right, that's a thing. The things we've seen flying around, by the way, the giant manta rays, yeah, they are enemies and they are trying to kill me. And yes, that is another Vanguard. If you hadn't been able to kill him in the tutorial, you can kill him here. Can you pick up, I think you can still pick up his soul if you kill him here. Yeah, it's supposed to be the idea. So you're not locked out of getting the unique weapon you can get from his soul. If you don't kill him in the tutorial, it means you have to wait until you get to here to try again, essentially. Not the end of the world, you know? It's all good. It's all good. Right, we need to try a little skip, because I basically got everything I wanted. I just wanted to show you guys where Blige was. Actually, no. I need to free him first. I was about to try and do the skip and just realised, no, that would be a bad idea. I need to free him. That's why I've come to get the key. The key, which is in an optional side area. You could entirely miss if you just were pressing forward trying to explore the level. You could entirely miss this. Quite easily. Yeah. Is it quick just to go down here? Probably. Yeah. The massive inconsistency that is fall damage in Demon Souls. You'd expect a fall from that height to be a bit more damaging. No, barely a sliver. A fall from a lesser height could end up killing me. A fall from an even higher height might do even less damage. It's all over the place. It's less to do with trying to show you how damaging drops are, more to do with showing you where the devs actually want you to go.
You saved me. Heavens, I can't believe I fell for that trap. I suppose I owe you now. I'm Grave Robber Blige. As thanks, I can provide you with useful goods. Who couldn't do with a little help down in these parts?
Oh my. Perhaps not advertise yourself as Grave Robber whatever. I mean, I understand putting your profession out there so you understand what's going on, but not really the kind of profession you want to be advertising. I'm Grave Robber Blige. I'm Arsonist Jeff. I'm Puppy Kicker Dave. Just don't do it. People will think better of you for it. Ooh. That might be a decent option. I mean... yeah, sod it. I want better defences than
This shrine
the black leather set actually gives me.
Ritual by an ancient tribe. They've long perished, and now demons have put the souls to work. At least here you're killing things that are already dead, like skeletons and shadow lurkers. That's what I like about this place. Better than killing those poor soul-starved humans, right? Better than killing those...
Again, a little bit of morality as well.
Satisfied? Maybe
I like that.
Long and...
Thank you, Blige. I like that that little touch that you only really get in Demon Souls as well. The characters are like, yeah, this is a shit situation, but I can choose not to be part of it by hanging out in an area where anything I kill, like I say, is something that was already dead. Something that's probably going to be at least vaguely thankful if I destroy it. It can go back to its rest. That booty though. You know, undisturbed by the demons. As opposed to, as he mentions, the soul-starved humans, who should have been living, they had their whole lives ahead of them, you know, normal, fruitful lives, before the demons came along. There's always the possibility, however remote, that perhaps they could be restored to some semblance of sanity. Perhaps. Here, that's not a concern you have to think about. If it attacks you, you kill it, everything's fine. Everything's cushy. Okay. Skip for level 4-1. Let's see if I can... Oop, not quite. It's awkward because you can't jump in Demon Souls. However, as we're... Oh, no, that didn't work. As we're level 2-1, there are several places you can reach by running off the correct area. Running and or rolling. Which obviously the devs didn't really think about. Oh, no, that was never going to work. That was far too soon. Yeah, there we go. And there we go. So yeah, this area I'm standing in now, I'm supposed to come to this area from a place much later in the level. It's like an optional side path I've just landed myself in. Regenerator's ring, which is awesome when you're in body form. Exactly the same thing as the MP ring, slowly brings your health back up. It's a great ring to have on if you're just sort of wandering around, generally exploring. Probably not the ring you really want on if you're trying to make like solid progress, especially not really if you're like fighting shit. Because it always has that little tendency in the back of your mind to make you think, I can't really be hurt. Yes you can. Yes you can. Demon Souls regen with like a single item. Can I go? Sorry, with a single item is not that strong. You can go like ridiculous regen builds by stacking like this ring. There's a shield that lets you regen as well, which is in this level. I'm not gonna bother getting it because I can show you guys what it looks like a bit later on when we meet Patches again. That's basically it at this point, isn't it? Yeah, okay. And get across here. But you can stack rings, that shield, blessed items, which I've mentioned earlier. Then you can get some truly ridiculous regen going on. The kind of thing where you get hit, you keep away from the enemy for 10 seconds and your health's back. Well, I mean like fully just back. And it's regenning like crazy in the meanwhile as well. You can get to a certain stage where you're basically immune to poison just through sheer effect of regen. Like the game can't lower your health fast enough to compete with the regen. That's not really useful for us. Do I remember correctly? Does it make you semi-invisible to invaders, that ring? Or does it make it less likely for someone to actually be able to invade you? There's something like that. In terms of NPCs, it makes Black Phantom enemies. It makes them... Essentially, it blinds them to a degree. Like if you combine that plus the Thief Ring, you can essentially walk right up into the face of a Black Phantom NPC before you'll be able to detect you're there. If I remember that correctly. Don't quote me on that, that might be entirely wrong. So much stuff that I realise now that I never actually bothered using in this game. Which is weird. It got a lot of really useful stuff, especially for like the invasion mechanics that were dropped from future From games. Like there were spells that were like basically just kick an invader out if you didn't feel like dealing with it. Banishment. Hit that, the second they get anywhere near you, they're booted back out to their own game. I think it's a really unique idea. I think that solved the problem of like forced PvP. Like here's a thing in the game. If you're really that dead set against it, but you want the option of being able to summon, hit this spell, there you go. Drops a good one. Stupid bird! Yeah. This demon is being controlled by a giant bird. You are looking at that correctly. That's not a mistake. Stab. And we're here very late game, by the way. That boss wasn't difficult by any stretch of imagination, but it shouldn't have been that easy to kill. I had to go prepare some lunch, but after that, I shall be back with more recordings for the level I hate the most in this game. Look forward to that.